My 44M, reactions to my wife's 53F, parents are ruining our marriage. Increasingly, my in-laws send me into fight or flight. They're rural, conservative Trump supporters who I have been vocal in defending for 20 years, twisting myself into pretzels to choke off my feelings of disgust for their behavior and beliefs, for the benefit of our relationship. Right now, I feel like I'm standing in the middle of a disaster zone. The lives of our friends, loved ones, acquaintances, and communities are being ripped apart by her parents' choices and actions. People we know and cherish around us have lost jobs, lost the ability to leave or enter the country, had to move, been harassed or attacked. Government thugs threw my friend's dad in a van and took him away to ship back to Central America like cargo. Now he has to explain to his kids where grandpa went. I'm transgender, does that also make me a domestic terrorist? Now? When we run out of immigrants, who's next in the van? The problem is that when I think about these things, I put her parents' faces on them. My fear and anger erases all of the good they have done for us, personally. And when she talks with them, is nice to them, wants them to come visit, etc., my brain lumps her in with them, even though she disagrees with their politics. Apparently, I have come to feel that there are sides, and she's choosing the one that wants to hurt me. The feelings of fear, alienation, and betrayal are painful. The last time my in-laws came to visit, I opted to leave and drove for a couple of days to visit my old friends/family. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. I felt safe. I felt like I could be angry and sad about things that are happening without it being a personal attack on anyone. I've been miserable since I got home. It doesn't feel like my home. My question is, what the hell is going on with me, and how do I make it stop? My fear is making me a small person. I'm questioning even my greatest support, my wife. I feel alone even though I'm not, and I feel betrayed and threatened by people who have never treated me badly. I don't know what would make me happy. Do I want her to cut off contact with them? Fight with them? Of course not, so what the hell do I even want here? My stormy mood is affecting her, and it's not fair. How do I fix this? This is way above a Reddit diagnosis. You and your wife need to get into marriage counseling, stat. You don't feel safe in your home, and you feel abandoned by her choices. She very likely feels it necessary to compartmentalize in order to keep close to her parents. She might not yet realize what this is doing to you and her marriage. Find a trusted third-party therapist and get some help. When you left to avoid their visit, you felt a sense of peace. The solution to this may be as simple as you avoiding their company. But also, what is it that they have done for you? Are they still helping you? You will probably feel better if you are not accepting help from them. Our /canon casualties is full of stories like yours. Sorry you're going through this, OP. I think that minimizing contact with them is the way to go. Maybe allow 1 or 2 visits a year, and that's your boundary, so they can't push for more. I feel for your wife too, she's stuck between a stone and a hard place. Asking her to choose her parents or you isn't fair. It sounds like she is a good partner to you, and still wants her parents in her life. Having had problematic parents myself, it is not easy to walk away from them. How much of this have you shared with your wife? Does she understand just how much this is affecting you? If you have not had an honest conversation with her about this, and about your own mental health around this issue, then you need to start there. You need therapy yesterday. My 30M, girlfriend 30F, stayed a few nights at a guy's friend's house alone. My girlfriend and I have been dating for about 2 years and been doing 1-year long distance. She has a guy friend that she has been friends with for about 4 years. I've met him and I thought we got along just fine, and honestly think he's a cool guy and don't have many issues with their friendship. They started having sleepovers together, regularly, probably 6-7 times in the past 3 months. I told her this made me a bit uncomfortable, but I want to trust her, and I definitely don't want to tell her who she can and can't hang out with, so I set some boundaries which consisted of letting me know when they're going to be sleeping over with each other, being in contact with me, as far as not forgetting to say goodnight to me, and maybe just a quick phone call before bed. The last time she had the sleepover, she didn't really tell me, and they went out until about 1 a.m. together, and then she slept at his place. I texted her at around 11, and I had to wake up at 5 a.m., so I wanted to get to bed, waited about 30-ish minutes before saying, okay, I need sleep and going to bed. She texted me about an hour after my TXT saying goodnight, never mentioned actually staying with him. I had no idea they were out. She has a past of blowing up on me when I try to share my feelings. I'll be honest, I don't feel super comfortable sharing when I'm uncomfortable, So the next morning I asked her how her night was, and she told me what happened. I spent about 30 minutes trying to as politely as possible tell her that I felt uncomfortable with how things went down the night before, and I just wanted to have a convo and maybe some reassurance. She called me a few hours later and was not happy at all. Called me insecure, and that's not her problem. I can't tell her who she can and can't hang out with. Told me she feels claustrophobic in the relationship and caged, and started bringing up small things I did over a year ago. I tried explaining how it wasn't about me not being cool with them hanging out. Just wanted a convo to make me feel a bit better and secure. Threatened breaking up, and it went on for about an hour until I finally apologized and told her I shouldn't have said anything. This was about 3 weeks ago, and I'm kinda struggling with how she treated me after the fact. I care about her a lot, but to me this is just a wild way to greet your partner, saying they're uncomfortable with something. What do y'all think? Save yourself the headache and break up now. She has no respect for you or your relationship. Sorry to break it to you, buddy, but you're fucking cooked. Seriously, just move on. Why are you still in this relationships? Hi, I'm a wife and a mother, and I'm 41. She's cheating with that guy. Break it off and move on with someone who respects you and meets your same standards for dating and relationships. You're welcome. Fuck that. You aren't even allowed to have an opinion on the wildly obvious boundary problem she has. Going out drinking with this guy, and then just staying at his place multiple times a month? Bro, they are dating, you're just her punching bag. You'd be an idiot to stay, FR. She doesn't respect your relationship, and she certainly doesn't respect you. I suggest you excuse yourself from this unfair and untenable situation. The only thing she's got to offer is heartbreak and gaslighting. Run. They're fucking. Grow a spine. She doesn't give a damn about you. Why am I, 24M, angry over my friend, 27M, getting someone pregnant? I met him almost 3 years ago when he traveled to the city I live in for a weekend to go to the beach. He's from CA. I met him by giving him directions on Brickell because he said he was trying to find a restaurant to dine at. I gave him my IG, just trying to be friendly and honestly gain a follower, and told him to hit me up if he wanted to hang out before he left. He texted me the night before he left, and we went to a restaurant. We honestly got to know each other. I told him I was from the East Side, and he told me that he had a 5-year-old daughter that lived with her mom, etc. I found certain things about him distasteful, but he was also intriguing. I didn't stress myself with that because I never expected us to be close friends. About a month later, he hit me back on IG and said he was coming to my city. He asked me if I wanted to hang out, and we went to a club together when he came. This ended up happening like every 2 weeks, and we would hang out each time I was there. Then about 6 months ago, he asked me could he stay at my house while down here. I was reluctant since I only live a wild life by night, but a very private life by day. By private I mean that I keep to myself, and I don't really let anyone into my intimate spaces. I ended up letting him sleep on my couch. He was there for 2 days before we got super drunk and kissed. It wasn't anything with tongue or long. It was this awkward thing, and we both decided it was driven by the intoxication and not a big deal. I'm straight and he's straight, but to this day we still are close friends. He called me a couple of weeks ago and told me that he got his daughter's mother pregnant while on a birthday trip with her. To bring it up, he asked me, "Do you remember her name /?" And I said, "You brought her up a few times, why?" And he decided to tell me, "I got her pregnant." I just kind of went quiet. I got extreme anxiety, and I don't know why. I honestly felt hurt. He told me that him and his child's mother weren't together and hadn't been since the child's birth, that he wasn't into her antics, they don't cross any romantic lines, etc., so why the fuck is she pregnant? I told him that he's a loser and hung up on him. A few days later he called me and told me he'd pay for a flight to CA so that we could talk about it. I told him no. I had been thinking about the shit for days because he promised me plans between the two of us. Like he wants me to go to St. Thomas with him for half of the 2026 summer and all of this other shit. How can he do that with an unborn kid? His daughter is no issue. He was supposed to keep her half of the summer and her mother keep her the other half. But with an unborn child, the mom is going to want you present and active during her pregnancy. Doctor appointments and etc. Like, even though I told him I wouldn't fly to him, I still did, but on my own terms. I didn't tell him I was coming until I was about to get on the plane. I went to his apartment and met his kid. Then we started talking about the situation, and I asked him what the mom was going to do. He acted clueless. That frustrated me and I left. I was even more frustrated because I had spent money on a ticket and a hotel for a 10-minute conversation. I told him that it was either me or the baby, and I do regret that because it was so intense. I don't expect him to choose his children over me, but I can't stand his fluctuations between me and him having a fun life, and him, and all of his girlfriends and habits, and shit making the former impossible. There has been plenty other issues with plenty other women. We talked earlier today, and he told me that I could be an uncle to his kids because of how close we are. Issue is, I don't want to be domestic. I don't even want to get married. I want to party until I'm in my 40s, then I want to be single or something and travel all the time. I know I'm young and ideals can change, but I feel forced into all this fatherly and boyfriend things like I'm being forced to deal with his issues and shit. He's my first close friend. I grew up strictly religious, and my parents let me hang out with nobody. Even as I branched out, I kind of kept that isolated mindset. Friendship tastes good, but it baffles me how I'm so angry over this. To be very frank, it sounds like y'all had feelings for each other, and were keeping them deep down. You might not be gay, but you are very much gay for your friend. On the surface you're jealous because you think this new baby will take his attention away from you. But I don't know why it should. His first kid didn't stop him from being a deadbeat. So that's an unfounded fear. He will still run the streets with you. What you're actually upset about is that you viewed his ex as someone from his past, and now you know he's still physically and emotionally involved with her, and so your ideas about being first in his mind are threatened. It sounds like you're repressing some romantic feelings here, and you're jealous. I hate to point this out, but maybe neither of you is actually straight. Friends don't act this way. Regardless of your personal feelings or relationship, you still don't get to judge someone or try force priority over their children. That's selfish and juvenile. You're angry because you wanted him whether you admit it or not. I'm sorry, you'll have feelings for each other. As a friend, you have no room to judge him like this, or give him an ultimatum between his children and yourself, unless there was something more. I hate to break it to you, no straight man feels that way about another man and his sex life. My boyfriend, M18, wants all my login info, F18. Sorry if this is long, by the way. I don't know how to start this because this has been going on for a while, but as a little background, I was fine with him going through my phone and stuff, and I allowed him log into my TikTok and other socials, but I gave him one simple rule, and it was to not message anyone. I thought I was clear with my only rule, but he did actually end up messaging my friends, which caused my friends to hate him and me. After we talked about it, we left it for a while, and I let him have my login again. This was in a span of a few months, with the same exact rule, and guess what? He ended up messaging one of my friends and basically arguing with her pretending to be me. Obviously my friend was pissed off, and that caused a huge argument, and after that he never really asked again until today. Before this we got into an argument a few weeks ago about me going to a party, and he was always the type to be mad if I went to parties with guys there YK, so I ended up lying to him. He obviously didn't like that, and I admit it was a shitty move on my part, but we also argued about my clothes at the party, which he claimed was too revealing. The argument got pretty heated, and as a result he tried to OD. Thankfully he didn't, and we worked things out until he asked me if I could give him my logins. I replied, don't you already have it, as I have given my logins before, and forgot his phone factory reset, and he got mad at me. I explained that I didn't want him to have my logins because I didn't want the same two incidents, and that I found it weird to give out logins, to which he accused me of hiding things. To make it clear, I find my DMs between me and my friends very personal, and I just don't feel comfortable with sharing them. I know it may look bad, and that I may be hiding something, but it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth knowing that someone is snooping through my shit. Is this situation okay? TLR gave boyfriend my social information and gave him one simple rule. He broke that rule, caused argument. Skip forward, he demands it again, and I say no, to which he responds that I'm cheating on him. You're dating a controlling asshole. Why is he still your BF if he repeatedly breaks your rule and messes up your life? This situation is not okay, and it's super controlling and toxic. Eventually you gotta prioritize your privacy and let his parents know he's a risk. After that, you move on and be happy. Ignoring all the blatant abuse. If he can't trust you with your own private conversations, then he can't be in a relationship with you. The moment I feel the need to snoop through my wife's private messages and socials will be the moment I either go to therapy or get a divorce. You can do better. He will tell you can't. Believe in yourself. You know this is wrong. Checking each other's phones and going through socials might be okay for most people, but having password and login saved on boyfriend or girlfriend phones is a no-go. Controlling. He will be checking you 24/7 and will make a fuss about small matters. He already broke a rule/boundary that you set. Move on. You need to ditch this guy ASAP. No, this situation is not okay. He's an asshole who repeatedly disregards your boundaries and deliberately tries to alienate you from your friends by arguing with them. He's trying to get them to fall out with you. Dump him.